You know what's strange? We spend our lives sprinting toward things we think we need: love, success, validation. But the faster we run, the further they seem to drift. It's like chasing your own shadow. No matter how hard you try, you never quite catch it. And the truth is, life isn't a game of pursuit. It's a game of alignment.
The things that feel just out of reach often aren't far at all. They're just blocked by the noise in your head. The pressure, the overthinking, the constant inner push to make it happen now. And ironically, that pressure is what delays it. But the moment you stop obsessing, the moment you breathe, release, and lean into the moment, that's when everything shifts. Because energy doesn't respond to neediness, it responds to clarity, to calm, to trust. When you stop chasing, you start magnetizing. You become someone who doesn't need the thing to feel whole. And that's exactly when it shows up. Not because you earned it by suffering, but because you matched it. Most people are trapped in a loop and don't even realize it. They want something so badly that their entire identity begins to orbit around that desire. They need the relationship to feel lovable. They need the success to feel worthy. They need the breakthrough to feel safe. But here's the paradox. The stronger that need becomes, the more it whispers to the universe, I don't have this yet. I'm not enough without it. And that energy, it repels. It doesn't pull what you want closer. It pushes it away. You've probably felt this, that quiet desperation beneath the surface. Even when you're smiling, even when you're trying to stay positive, something inside still feels tense. Because you're waiting for life to reward you once you've done enough. But life doesn't respond to your effort alone. It responds to your energy. And that energy is clearest, cleanest, and most magnetic. When you no longer need it to validate you. When you no longer need the job, the relationship, the moment. Because you already know who you are, with or without it. And that's when something strange happens. People call it luck, but it's not luck. It's alignment. Suddenly the person texts you back. The opportunity lands in your inbox. The thing you thought was so far away just sort of shows up. Why? Because you stopped trying to control the outcome. You let go. You stopped gripping so tightly to how it had to happen and started trusting that it would happen if it's meant for you. And when you hold that mindset, you become magnetic, not because you're chasing, but because you're still. And that stillness carries power most people overlook. Think about this, the universe is not deaf. It's just uninterested in noise. And when you're chasing something with every fiber of your being, when you're straining, overthinking, pushing, you start generating more noise than signal. You might think you're being persistent, disciplined, focused, but underneath that effort, there's fear. A fear that if you stop chasing, it'll all disappear. That if you ease up for 1 second, the whole dream crumbles. But what if that's the very thing blocking it? The more you try to force it, the more you tell life that you don't already believe it's on the way. You're in a tug of war with your own future, and in that game, nobody wins. This isn't laziness. This isn't about giving up. It's about surrendering the grip. It's the moment you stop clenching your fists and start opening your hands. That's where real power begins. Because power doesn't scream. It doesn't beg. It simply knows. Look around you. Who are the most magnetic people you know? They're not the loudest. They're not the most desperate. They're the ones who seem certain, without needing to prove anything, because they've detached from the outcome. They still show up, they still care, but they're not performing for it. They're aligned with it. And when you shift from performing to aligning, you move differently. You speak differently. You attract differently. People feel it. Life responds to it. Here's what nobody tells you. There's a point where trying becomes tension, and tension is the exact opposite of trust. Most people live in a constant state of emotional bracing. They're trying to earn what they already have access to. They over-strategize, they hustle hard, they chase, but deep down they're signaling to life, I don't think I'm enough yet. That signal matters, because energy doesn't lie. When you're constantly chasing, life reflects back more reasons to chase. When you stop, when you release that white knuckle grip, you start to move in flow. And flow is where all the magic is. Think of it like this. You don't pull a flower open with force. You don't scream at the sun to rise faster, and you don't beg a river to flow. It just does. Trying too hard puts you out of sync with your own timing. You start running ahead of yourself, burning energy on things that were never yours to hold in the first place. And when you're in that state, you miss what's actually being handed to you. You're too focused on making it happen to notice it's already happening, just not the way you expected. And that's the secret. Letting go doesn't mean doing nothing. It means doing what you're called to do, without grasping for a specific outcome. It means showing up like someone who already trusts the process. It means making decisions from groundedness, not from panic. It means being committed, but not attached. And there's a big difference between those two. Attachment says, I need this to work, or I'm not okay. Commitment says, I'll show up fully, and I'll be okay no matter what. Which version do you think has more power? You ever notice how the moment you stop obsessing over someone texting you back, they suddenly do? That's not a coincidence. It's a reflection of what happens when you shift from desperation to detachment, from needing to having. There's an unspoken magnetism in not needing something. When you're whole, people feel it. Opportunities feel it. The world responds to a calm presence that doesn't chase. And it's not about pretending you don't care. It's about actually building a life so fulfilling, so aligned, that you stop depending on external things to feel okay. Here's the paradox. When you're not ruled by the outcome, you start playing with reality instead of fighting it. People sense it when you're trying to prove something. They feel the invisible pressure. But when you no longer need to convince, impress, or chase, you become a mirror. And in that mirror, others see confidence. They see peace. They see someone who's already won. That's what makes people lean in. Not your pursuit, but your presence. Trying too hard screams lack. Letting go whispers confidence. And this isn't just about people or relationships. This is about the way you walk into a job interview, the way you start a new project, the way you show up in the world, without broadcasting the energy of, I hope this saves me. Because the truth is, you don't get peace by controlling everything. You get peace by becoming someone who doesn't need to. The people who are calm in a storm aren't the ones with all the answers. They're the ones who've made peace with uncertainty. And when you do that, when you stop trying so hard to fix or force, the right things start showing up. Not because you chased them, but because you created space for them to arrive. The funny thing is, most people don't even realize how much they're controlled by their own expectations. They wake up every day already chasing something, validation, success, closure, and yet, the more they chase, the further it seems to run. That's because chasing isn't moving forward. It's just moving frantically. It's not driven by purpose. It's driven by fear. Here's where it hits. When you constantly feel like you need something, that one reply, that one opportunity, that perfect outcome, you're unknowingly telling your subconscious that you are not enough without it. And your subconscious listens. It will start filtering the world through that lack. Even if something great shows up, you'll sabotage it, question it, or never feel it's enough. But when you drop the obsession with the outcome, when you truly, deeply stop needing it, your entire energy shifts. Your body relaxes, your tone changes, your eyes soften. You stop searching the room for something to complete you, because you've remembered that you're already complete. And ironically, this is the exact moment when things begin to click. Not because you tricked the universe, but because you stepped out of your own way. You start creating from peace instead of panic. You start speaking from clarity instead of neediness. And suddenly you're magnetic without even trying. Letting go doesn't mean giving up. It means no longer giving your power to what you can't control. So you shift. From gripping to guiding, from force to flow. You stop demanding timelines, and instead, you become someone who's worth the wait. Someone who doesn't need to chase, because the right things now gravitate to you. This is the kind of inner shift that makes people turn their heads, not because you're louder, but because you're still. One of the most powerful things you can ever do is learn how to sit in silence without needing anything from it. Think about that for a second. No scrolling, no texting, no fixing, no checking how you're being perceived. Just presence. That rare moment when your nervous system isn't wired to achieve, but simply to exist. That's the space where things actually start to reorganize themselves. Your mind clears, your thoughts slow down, your energy stops leaking into people and places that aren't even yours to carry. We live in a time where constant motion is confused with the real progress, but growth doesn't always happen in the loud moments. It happens in the quiet ones, when you're not performing for anyone, when you're not strategizing the next move, when you finally exhale and realize nothing's actually missing right now. And that's not some motivational fluff. It's literal neuroscience. Your brain and body operate differently when you're not in survival mode. When you're not consumed by needing validation or chasing outcomes, your brain stops pumping cortisol and starts rewiring itself for focus, calm, creativity. That shift, it affects how you speak, how you respond, how you're perceived. It's not about detaching from life. It's about detaching from the illusion that life is only valuable when it goes according to your plan. Because here's the uncomfortable truth. The more tightly you grip that plan, the more exhausted you become trying to keep it alive. Even when it's clearly not working anymore. But when you let go, truly let go, you don't become passive. You become aligned. You start hearing your intuition louder than the noise. You stop trying to prove yourself and start being yourself. People can feel that. And the world starts moving with you instead of against you. That's the paradox. You become more powerful the moment you stop trying so hard to control everything. So ask yourself, what would happen if you stopped micromanaging your life and started trusting the version of you that doesn't need to chase anymore? That version isn't just a possibility. It's already in you. You just have to stop running long enough to hear it. Now, here's what people don't talk about enough. Letting go doesn't mean abandoning your goals. It means releasing the emotional grip you've wrapped around them. Letting go means no longer tying your self-worth to the outcome. It means not panicking if something doesn't happen on your timeline. And that's what creates the space for real results to show up. See, the moment you stop needing something to happen is the same moment you start seeing more clearly what actually matters. And when you're not operating from need, you stop clinging to things that drain you. You stop accepting crumbs. You stop shrinking to fit places you've already outgrown. Because here's the truth. When you're chasing something with desperation, what you're really doing is telling your nervous system that you're lacking, that you're incomplete, that you can't be calm or whole until that thing arrives. And that energy, it leaks into everything. Your relationships, your decisions, even how you carry yourself in a room. People feel it, even if they don't know how to explain it. That overeagerness, that trying too hard energy. It repels more than it attracts. Now compare that to someone who knows they want something, but they're good either way. They're centered, grounded. They don't need attention to feel valid. They don't need noise to feel alive. And because they're not coming from a place of lack, people naturally want to be around them. Opportunities find them. Conversations flow. The right doors start to open. It's not magic. It's alignment. And the only thing that shifted was them. So maybe the work isn't to try harder. Maybe it's to stop attaching your peace to things you can't control. To stop making your worth conditional on what you accomplish this month, or who replies to your text, or how fast you hit a goal. Because when your inner world calms down, your outer world starts to reflect that same calm. You respond instead of react. You choose instead of chase. You attract instead of beg. It's a quieter power, but it's undeniable. At some point, you realize the peace you were chasing was never out there. It was underneath all that resistance, all that forcing, all that fear. And once you finally release that grip, even just a little, life starts moving in ways it never could when you were holding on so tight. It's not about giving up. It's about loosening the pressure, letting the weight of control fall off your shoulders, and walking forward with trust, not tension. You start attracting people who feel lighter. You notice things syncing up more effortlessly. And ironically, you become more powerful by not trying so hard to be. So here's your quiet reminder. Letting go isn't weakness. It's a choice, a decision to stop running in circles and start living from your center. And once you do, it all starts to align in ways that forcing never could. If this resonated with you, drop the word ease in the comments so I know you're walking that path with me. And if you're ready for more content like this, subscribe, like the video, and I'll see you in the next one.